Hi everyone, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to build expandable cards, one on hover and one on click, where you toggle the class and the content either expands or collapses with a nice transition. So what we're going to do is first run through the code as always to explain it to you how it works and you can understand this, so then later you could implement this into a page builder like Bricks or any page builder you want. It doesn't matter which one you're using, because once you understand how this works through the code, then you could add this anywhere you want to. So let's quickly jump into the code first. Let me split my screen. So as you can see, I have two examples, example 1 and example 2. So what we have is a card parent, which is card 1, and inside the card we have a top and a bottom. And what I want to show you before we go to styles CSS is that if you're using if you want to have a card on the top of other card and you use this effect, might not be the best idea to use them in a column, maybe in a row when you have no items above or below it, and I'll show you why. So let me quickly go here and uncomment this. So you can see there's a massive gap. Even if I hover, there's always some sort of gap left. And the reason is, if we go to styles, okay, and we put a border, you will see this, visualize this. So let's do a visual visualization, representation, that's it. Now, without the border, you wouldn't know, right? And this is not what you want for your website, because it will be annoying for the users as well. And it's not really a good way to build that. And the reason we have this gap is because of this transform translate. Okay, it's set to positive on both position positive, position relative on the top and the bottom of the card. But the top has a 10 rem, so goes, this is original position, but goes 10 rem down. The bottom card position is original, but goes 10 rem up, so 100 pixels up. So I'll show you. If I comment them out, that's the original position. If I comment this now, it goes 100 pixels down. This one will go 100 pixels up, and we have that effect. And if we hide the border, we have this effect of expanding the card. So it's almost like sliding from below it, expands, but it's not ideal if you're using, again, column design in a row. Yes, as long as you have nothing up here, nothing there, so it might be good to use them. But I thought I'd just quickly show you, so just in case you end up wondering why it's happening, so it's good to understand this. The other one is on click. So when we look in the CSS, we can see that the cards, which is unordered list, and I'll show you why in a second. So let me uncomment two of them. Oops, too much. Let me just do it again. Okay, I'm going to show you now. So it's unordered list, they're in column, and there's a 2 rem gap, 20 pixel gap. You could have a bit more, just let's put a little bit, maybe more, let's put 4 for now. Yeah, so 4 rem gaps, but we don't have 200 pixel gap between them. When you click, you can see that 40 rem still stays the same as we have it here. It doesn't leave with 200 gap, it just stays aligned how it should supposed to stay. The content itself dynamically expands and collapses, and that's what you want to have if you're planning to do a column like FAQ. Not this, because obviously you have the gap. At the moment you might not see it and there's an illusion, but once you put the border, then obviously you understand. And how this is built, it's very simple. We have the width of the actual card, so the whole container of this is actual card. It's 30 rem. We have a transition on that, and display flex to column as well direction, because if it's a row it will look like this, or we want to have a column. Also, the cart top is set to position relative because the toggle is inside the top card, and that is set to position absolute. So then we can position this on this line, and you can see there's no translate Y on the top or the bottom of the card, like the content itself. What it is just a nice dynamic field. So let's jump into the JavaScript. I'll quickly show you. So we select the container of all the cards items that sit in. So that would be the unordered list. Okay. I'm not too sure if I know how to zoom this. Let's see. Let me see if I can actually zoom this. Find a place toggle. Zoom. No. I think it's in the settings because I'm not too sure if you can see it properly. Settings, zoom. Let's see if this works. Control holder. Ah, there you go. That was pretty cool. I didn't know that. So we select the container, which is under the list. This is where all the items sits, the list items. It doesn't have to be unordered list, it could be a div, but the point is where the item sits in. We have a callback function, which I'll run through in a second. But what we have, we attach event listener to the container that holds all the elements, all the cards, items, and we put a click event, and we use a callback function. This callback function will look for the closest element with a class of toggle, which will be a toggle. If, for example, the reason why, let me tell you that, is because, let me just quickly find that. If you had, let's say, a spam here, or let's say 3 other elements, and you click on them, it would not select the actual toggle. It will be selecting those items. The toggle, the closest method, will find the actual parent of that class, which will be the toggle itself. That's what we're using now, okay? And also, we wouldn't select as well for each of the toggles. We want to find the icon we click on. That's where we have an e.target. So the one we click on, we want to find that kind of icon. What this is a close guard. Okay, that means if we don't click on it, which is false, which would be true, that's what it means. Return, stop the action. So it's called negation, right? This. If a value is false that we clicked on, which wouldn't be the, let's say we click on the top of the card instead of the icon, it's a false because that's not the one we want to click on, which is true. Therefore, stop the instruction. If we click on that toggle, carry on with the instruction. Hopefully you understand what I mean. You can have a look into a YouTube of negation, then you will understand that. I just don't want to go too much in depth into this. What we do then, we store a card, the actual card item, which is this. We find the again closest of the one we click. So we use the closest method because once we click on that icon, we want to find that actual card of the icon we clicked on. Okay, then we store this in the card. Then we put .class list.toggle. So we toggle the active class. So toggling means add and remove every time you click. We then add the class once we click here. What we want to do then, we want to select the content of the card. If that card class list contains active, we want to expand the max width to the dynamic value of the card, what the item sits in the card basically. So we use the scroll height to get a dynamic value. If the card doesn't have the active class, we set the max height of that content card or content to 0. Now this is to basically, let me show you. So we have one that is open. If I click on this one, it will collapse the other one. Okay. So what it does is we select all the cards items, we loop over them. If the card does not equal to the one that we clicked on, and those cards contain active class, we want to remove active class from all those cards that haven't been clicked on. And then obviously set, again, we grab the content of them and we set the max height to 0. Hopefully you understand and you can see this code. That's why I zoomed it in. So let's quickly go into a bricks page builder. So over here we have example 1 and example 2, and the reason is because I want to show you something. Sometimes those page builders can get a little bit glitchy, okay, but it's very simple. If we look at this, we have the container that will contain all the items, okay, and in there we have a block which is the card. Then inside there we have a top and a bottom. In the top one we have the whatever content you want to do and the icon, because this is where we're going to position, and then we have the content itself. You have to set the top card again to position relative, because we need to set this to position absolute and set this in the middle. So we want to set the bottom to sort of minus 15 pixels. If you don't put the minus, it will go up. Okay, so you want to put minus so it goes down 50% to the left, and make sure you go to transform, put minus 50 so it's actually centered in the middle horizontally, otherwise it will look like this. Okay, so it's important. Obviously put whatever classes you want to put, that's up to you. You don't have to use the same classes I have here. The other one is same structure, I don't need to run through that, but what I need to run through is a code over here, because there's two styles of this. So we have one that's like this. For some reason the icon here doesn't want to rotate, and I need to have a look into this. But this is pretty much what you want to have, not something that we had over here where there's a gap. Okay. The other one is this, where those don't move like them. Okay, don't create the gap. Even if you click on this one, see, it goes up and down. So quickly run through the code. In styles, we have just the bare minimum, which is just making sure the content max height is set to 0. You could do this in the actual, if you go content, styles, CSS, you could do it there. But I just thought it would be easier for me just to check it over here. Okay, now the script, there's a two solution on there. The first one that I showed you is the top one, which I don't have to run through, but it's the second one I want to run through, and is probably what most people will do if they're new to JavaScript, is they will select all the icons of them that share the same class. What they will do is loop over those icons and add event listener, a click one. And what they will do is, as well, they wouldn't probably do what I did there, event or target or classes. They probably loop again, and then it's too long. But you add event is because the one we click on the icon, we want to make sure we grab that actual card. So if I click on here, I don't want to grab this card, I want to grab this card. Okay, that's why we have an e.target or closest. So E stands for event. Target is the target we want to target. Basically, closest method grabs the closest parent of that class. Okay, once we have the card, then we toggle the class every time we click. active or remove it. We then grab the last element child of the card, which is with the content. If not, you can use the closest method again. If card.classlist.contains active, same thing, set the max height to card content.scroll height and then pixels, else put it down, and that's it. And I wouldn't worry about this, I was just experimenting. But just like that, you could build your own expandable cards in Bricks, Elementor, any page builder you want to, even Wix, Webflow. But I like to use code because I could avoid certain situation like this, for example. And the reason is because page builders are made to do the basics, the pure basic minimum, which is easy to do the layout and certain elements. But if you want to add extra stuff, you have to add code to it and play around with it. So hopefully you understand everything. Just before I finish and quickly run through the JavaScript again, we select the container that has all the children, all the list items. We then attach an event listener to that container, a click event, and we use a callback function, which then we target the toggle we want to target to make sure we click on the right one. If it's not clicked, stop the function. If it click the toggle, then we want to grab that card of that toggle, and then we want to toggle the class. Then we want to grab the content of the card, and if the card class list contains active, we want to dynamically grow the height of that content, else we want to remove it. And as well, we want to remove active class from the rest of the cards if we want to have this nice little effect. Okay, so hopefully you understand. I went through this quite thoroughly, so you should be able to build this. So if you enjoyed that, let me know. Also, will be great if you subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share with people that want to build more elements without spending money on any plugins. So hopefully you enjoyed it.